chandeliers on the walls to give lighting. It had a inclined floor, like a movie theater, so that you could see the preacher down in the pulpit. It was really a church that they were proud of. This shows some more of the students posing on the rocks down below the schoolhouse. And there's also 3 ministers in this picture, and 1 or 2 lady missionaries. We had several female missionaries come out of Mount Pleasant. And this, I believe, is the first car in town, also made by my hand. And the man who's standing beside the car, and I assume that he is the owner, is Will Maris. And he was a Presbyterian preacher here in about 1909 until about 1913. And I believe it's a Studebaker. Studebaker was a popular car at that time. Will Maris also started the first and only band, a brass band that we had here in Mount Pleasant. And this is Maris here. The academy served well until 1905. This is an actual page out of the diary kept by my aunt, and it says, "Ever remember the night of January the 10th, 1905, at about 11 o'clock, the schoolhouse burned." And it was a tremendous loss for this town when the academy burned. They quickly built a new school, but the old timers that I talked to in the 1960s said it was never like the old academy. They continued to call it the academy for a while, but within 3 or 4 years after it was built, it became a public school. Up until then, you had to pay tuition to go to the academy, and it was anywhere from $1 to $3 a month, according to your age. But when it became a free school, it also, by the 1920s, they started consolidating little schools from around the area to come into Mount Pleasant. And mentioning Mount Pleasant, here's the lady that gets the credit for changing the name of the town, or blame. Some people like to blame her. M.E. Moore was the daughter of the largest business, the biggest businessman in town, Oscar P. Moore. He owned the gin, the coffee gin, and the flour mill. He owned 2 stores, and quite a bit of land in this area. His daughter went away to college in Mississippi and wrote back that her fellow students, her classmates, were making fun of the fact that she came from a place called Barren Fork. And she said, "Daddy, can you please do something about this?" So he circulated a petition, and in October of 1914, the name of the town was officially changed to Mount Pleasant. And the town was named after the school. The school was never called Barren Fork Academy. I have records that go all the way back to the school time, and it was always Mount Pleasant Academy. So I don't really know who made the decision. I guess it was on the petition. Did you agree to change the town name to Mount Pleasant? And Mr. Moore got it done. In the 20s, a lot of good things and a few bad things happened to the town. One of the first good things was the building of a hospital here. And the Presbyterian Church also had a role in building it. They gave a grant, a national grant out of New York City to the women's mission of the National Presbyterian Church, gave a grant of $12,000 to build the hospital. And it was built for that, and they also employed a doctor to come here, and his name, the very first doctor to come here was Dr. Chervin, and he came from Chicago, Illinois. And somebody from Chicago, Illinois showing up in Mount Pleasant was a strange thing in the 1920s. But he apparently did a good job, and a lot of people loved this man. He saved some lives. We know he saved some lives in this thing. This is how the hospital looked shortly after it was finished. It had a nursing staff, and the first head nurse was from New Mexico, which was about as strange as someone from Chicago. Her name was, let me think, Mary Yates. Mary Yates was the first nurse in charge of the hospital. I might mention at this point, I did not have any pictures of the hospital until 2 years ago while attending the homecoming at Barren Fork. I remember the Claxton family draw an album. The photos were made by Maggie Stroud, who was a nurse or a nurse's aide at the hospital during the late 1920s and early 30s. And she made these pictures with her little Brownie camera, and I was so thankful to find them, because as long as I had looked for pictures of the hospital, I'd almost reached the point I didn't think they existed. This is a rear picture of the hospital, and by the way, this thing here was called the day room or the sun room. Had a lot of glass in it. And this is where most of the visitation occurred. People coming to visit people in the hospital, if they were able, they met them in the sunroom. And I don't have in this today, but there's also pictures of the interior of it. This is the hallway of the hospital.
Where would that be?
It's still standing today, and I'll show you a picture of it in just a minute. It's still standing. The building is still here today. But this is a typical room on inside the hospital. It doesn't show a lot, but it's better. It gives us a little idea. For one thing, it had a modern forced hot water heating system, which I'm sure was the one only in this part of this county. The local people helped build the doctor a home, which I think was to show their appreciation for the doctor. And he had a chance to bring X-ray to the county. I don't know how he arranged it or anything, but they had no place in the hospital to put an X-ray room. So he asked that men enclose his back porch. And so anyone that needed an X-ray had to go over to the doctor's house and go on the back porch and get your X-ray. That building is gone, by the way. It was torn down in the 80s.